Hey, vinyl community people, all my music loving friends, it's Mike, MGK Boston, back with yet another video on a Friday afternoon. Something I don't talk about much, it's a lot of the alternative stuff that I was into going into the 90s from the late 80s. So I thought I'd do a video on that. This is going to be, for any vinyl purists, you'll have to change the channel. This is going to be all CDs. I'm not going to make a habit of showing all compact discs. I do mix them in intermittently in what I call a hybrid video, half and half, if you will. But no, today, because the reason in today's video that format is simply basically from around 1988 when I was in the middle of university. That's when I switched. I was still buying a couple of records, but pretty much I was all in with the new way of the world. It was going to be the compact disc, the new format for all of us. And doing that CD tag I did last weekend got me thinking about it, and a lot of this stuff I haven't looked at in a very long time. So I just grabbed a bunch of stuff from my collection, but featuring strictly the 90s here. And these are going to be in no sequence. But again, it's mostly a lot of alternative modern rock that I was into at the time. A lot of it from England, but I'll get into that in more detail throughout the video. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to show a dozen or so. So we'll kick it off. Most of these, or no, I won't say most of these, but a lot of these I know I've never seen in the vinyl community. So this is a band, I believe they're from Manchester, England. They're called The Top, and this record is called, well, this release was called Emotion Lotion. It was their only release. It was released in 1991. I would put this up against bands like the Charlatans and Spiral Carpets, the whole Manchester sound. These guys were really good. It was just a one-off, and then they just disappeared. You know, wherever they went, Mars, I don't know, but they just disappeared off the music map. But this has some great moments. Look up any of these songs that I'm going to list, like Buzzin', Number One Dominator. There's a good video for that. You can look that up again, Number One Dominator. But yeah, if you like that Manchester sound, these guys had it nailed. Really good. And they were on the Island label right there. Yeah, I don't know much more about them. I know that this was the only one, you know, in Canada at the time where I was living, this was getting some alternative radio play. Yeah, it's just some designs on the inside. I guess that's supposed to be the Emotion Lotion, kind of, you know, an Andy Warhol variations on the bottle, like an advertisement. Yeah, again, these guys called The Top, and that release called Emotion Lotion. Yeah, trying to show stuff here that I've never seen out in the vinyl community, and I know that's one of them, The Top, Emotion Lotion. Staying in Manchester, to party in 1991 was to party with the Happy Mondays. In my mind, this was actually their debut from 1990, featuring Sean Ryder on vocals and the dancing man Bez in the background. But this is called Thrills, Pills, and Bellyaches, mainly because these guys took a lot of pills, stayed up a lot of nights, and really partied hard into the ground, if you will. But Sean Ryder's amazingly still alive, as far as I know. So this was chock full of great tunes. The follow-up was not so good, but this one here, I mean, oof, yeah, what do you got here? Kinky Afro kicks it off. God's Cop. Donovan, I don't know if that was about Donovan Leitch. But of course, big single on this one was a song called Step On. You can see there in the graphic, and there you can see the Happy Mondays logo, Pills and Thrills over here. And yeah, it's really good. Cool artwork here. I don't know if there's much on the inside here. No, just the track listing there, and you can see it right there. Kinky Afro kicking that off, and Step On, another song that pretty much defined, if you will, it's called the Manchester sound in some circles. I always just call it the Manchester sound, but some call it the M-A-D, Chester sound. Whatever, it's all good. It's Thrills, Pills, and Bellyaches, and that's the Happy Mondays, 1991, the release on that one. Staying in Manchester, I believe these guys, well, I know they're from England, but totally on the Manchester sound bandwagon. Band called the Dillons. They had this self-titled that was released, I want to say 1991. It's kind of like a psych pop, if you will. It's got that Rickenbacker guitar ringing in the background, but then the drum beats, it's got that kind of Happy Mondays vibe all throughout. Big single on this one was a song called Planet Love. I hope the weather stays fine. That's a really good, we got that total vibe going on with that Manchester beat. She Drops Bombs, Mary Quant in Blue, Also very good. Any of those songs, look those up. But yeah, my favorite on this is probably I Hope the Weather Stays Fine. That's a great song. I don't know if they were from a planet with oranges on it. It looks like it, right? That's one of my favorite fruits, so that'd be all right, I guess. And what do we got on the inside here? Some more fruit. There's a lemon spaceship. There's an apple. These guys, maybe they were vegetarians. I don't know. There's their logo right there, the Dillons. And there's the band right down there in the center, if you can see. Sorry for that late afternoon glare coming in. But yeah, really great. I was living in Toronto at the time. When I finished college, I went to Toronto and worked for a couple of years. There was a really good modern rock station. It's still in existence, but it's a shadow of its former self. I've streamed it a bit and it's lousy. It's called CFNY 102.1 at the time, and they played a lot of these bands. And that's where I heard these for the first time. And in the clubs, of course, because I was pretty much going out every Friday, Saturday night. I was a young and wild. All right, so I mentioned these guys earlier in the video. It's the Charlatans. This is their debut. It's called Some Friendly, so you can see there. This was released in 1990. Vocals by a guy named Tim Burgess. This is their first and arguably I'd say their best. They put out several records after this, but none were equitable to this one. Kicks off with You're Not Very Well. The Only One I Know is a really good song. There's a good video for that if you want to look it up. If you grew up in the 80s, like I did, you like the videos, you know, Much Music in Canada, MTV. In the States, my friends in Australia, Ben Rankins and John D. I wonder, was there an equivalent music television, anything in Australia? I didn't bother to look that up, but just curious, maybe you could drop a comment in the video, or under the video rather. Spross and Green's another good one on here, but yeah, the big single again from this one, a track called The Only One I Know. Let's see what's on the inside here. There's the band just out in some field here. Totally had that mod look, was part of the fashion. I did not feature that fashion, but I did have some good shirts. Not like Ben Rankins, but I did have a lot of paisley going on, and I made it work. Just in the inside, inner sleeve, not much else there. But yeah, that's the Charlatans. Some Friendly, the name of that release, 1990. All right, where are we? I've talked about this band before. This was their follow-up to their debut, the self-titled Stone Roses debut. It took 3 or 4 years to get their act together to do this, mainly due to the erratic nature of the lead vocalist, Ian Brown. Yeah, so he was known for in live performances. He was just unpredictable, to say the least. He could forget lyrics, show up late, kind of an Axl Rose personality, but totally different music style. These are no Guns N' Roses, but as far as that whole sound goes, the Manchester kind of the whole vibe, these guys were the first ones, really. They were the kings of it, if you will. Like Led Zeppelin is the classic rock, Stone Roses was to that whole sound. So this was it was a good follow-up. A lot of critics didn't think it was worth the wait, but I really like it. The songs on this are longer, a little more instrumentation involved. Take Breaking Into Heaven, for example, the opening track. It's really good. Look that up. 10-Story Love Song is another one on this. And Love Spreads. That's just got some great guitar work on that one. The name of the guitarist escapes me, but he does some really good stuff on this one. Let's see what's on the inside here. There's a cool logo on the actual compact disc. Squire, yeah, John Squire on guitar. There's just some pictures of the band when they were children. And of course, there's the track listing right there. You can see Breaking Into Heaven kicking that off. And ending with, like I said, track 12 there, Love Spreads. Not to be missed, the Stone Roses, Second Coming. And that was it for the Stone Roses. Ian Brown went solo. Don't know what the other guys did, but that's the Second Coming. And I believe the release date on that one, 1994. Okay, staying in England. Wouldn't call these guys Manchester sound. They were just kind of a psychedelic pop band. You can't see, there's nothing on the front, just that dog. This is the self-titled debut of the House of Love. You can see there you go, the House of Love. Guy Chadwick, the lead singer on this band. They were on the Fontana label. I always like that Fontana logo, kind of cool. Safe's a good one on this one. Cut the Fool Down. They get a little sophomoric in the lyrics, but it's pretty listenable. And the first three releases, there's no denying it. They're a pretty talented band. I actually saw these guys. I can't remember if it was in Toronto or Vancouver, in my travels around this period. Well, probably a couple of years after this, 93, 94. But that's the House of Love, and that's their debut. And that was followed up with this one. It's just called the Butterfly album. They didn't really give it a name. Some of the highlights on this one: Shine On is a really great single. It's fast. It's got a fast pace to it. Really great psych pop song. Beatles and the Stones is a nice ballad on this. If you've ever had to choose Beatles and the Stones, what would you do? So that's another great track. Oh, and another good single on this one, I Don't Know Why I Love You. I haven't looked at these in so long. I'll maybe give these a listen tonight. I haven't listened to this stuff in a long time. I'm getting old too. I'm in my mid-50s, so if you go back, this was a while ago for me. And I bought all this stuff when it was brand new. So yeah, again, this is the House of Love. Nice artwork on that cover. Let's see if there's a picture of the band somewhere in here. Nope, just lots of butterflies. Nature lovers. And that's the House of Love. Not self-titled, but in most circles it's just called the Butterfly album. So, all right. A little shoegazing, if you're familiar with that vibe. It's Slow Dive. This fronted by the singer Rachel Goswell. I'll spit that out. This is their debut. It's called Just for a Day. This one came out in 93. A lot of critics think that the follow-up, Souvlaki, is better. I don't agree with those critics. I say they're equitable. They just had to work out a couple things in their sound. This has more of a My Bloody Valentine vibe, and it's not as smooth as Souvlaki, but it's still really good. If you like shoegazing, that whole genre or style, you'll dig this. If you don't know this, look up Slow Dive, Just for a Dream. Any of the songs on this are worth a listen. This is a good one, front to back, every track, I would say. Kicks off with Spanish Air. Catch the Breeze is just a wonderful song. Celia's Dream. It's really spacey, and then those fuzzy guitars kick in, and it's just, yeah, it's all that. So they were on the Creation label. That was an independent label. You can see there's a Slow Dive, Just for a Day. On the inside here, no, it's like a kid took a paintbrush and went like that. Nothing really going on there. I was looking for a photo of the band. But anyway, yeah, Rachel Goswell was a looker in her younger days, and she was the lead singer. Great voice. But yeah, Slow Dive, Just for a Day. All right, where are we? We're going to go up to Canada, my homeland, up to the East Coast. These guys called Sloan. This is their debut. It's called Smeared. This was released in 1993. Now, these guys definitely would have more in common with a band like My Bloody Valentine or Sonic Youth, even to a certain degree, but more slick pop than not as not as Sonic Youthy. If you know Sonic Youth, you know what I mean there. But yeah, these guys are still active. I did not know. I only have this one. Rob up at Northern Revolutions, I think he showed in one of his all-Canadian videos a recent Sloan release, and I was like, wow, these guys are still active. I never saw them at the time when this came out, like I said, in 1993. But this one, again, every song on this is good. Opens with a song called Underwhelmed. But you'll be overwhelmed by it. It's really good. Underwhelmed is a great track on this. Raspberry, I Am the Cancer, Lemon Zinger's another one. 500 Up. There's some pictures of the band on the back. Again, like I said, they were from Halifax in the province of Nova Scotia. There they are. It looks like in a rehearsal studio, hanging out. Yeah, but I was really surprised they're still active. I mean, almost 30 years later, they are much younger on the inside. Lead vocalist, what's his name here? Guy by the name of Jay Ferguson. Yeah, and this had that kind of neo-60s look going on there on the inside. Cool artwork on that one. There you have it. It's Sloan Smeared, the name of that one. Okay, back to the UK. It's The Verve. So these guys, I saw them on the Storm in Heaven tour, which was their debut full length. This is an EP. I think it's just called the Verve EP. It's a 5-song EP. Of course, frontman Richard Ashcroft right there. Release date on this one's 1991, I believe. No, 92. There you have it right there. So yeah, these guys, I'd call these guys like neo-psychedelic, maybe a bit of shoegazing thrown in. But anyway, you slice it, it's great. They had to change their name from Verve to The Verve. I think they got sued by the Verve record label. Any of my jazz fans would know what that is. And so then the name became The Verve instead of just Verve. So this one, it's just like I say, spacey, kind of neo-psychedelic pop. Gravity Grave is a great track on this. She's a Superstar. That's actually one of my favorite songs by the Verve. I saw these guys at Lee's Palace. Any of my friends in Toronto will know that venue on Bloor Street West. It's still there. And that's where I saw them. Band named Acetone opened up for them. They weren't very good. I do remember that. Kind of just going to the bar and talking to people when the opener was on. And then these guys came on and blew everybody away. Small club, maybe held 400, 500 people. And then they later on were playing Tea in the Park years later. Became a much better deal. And then they did make headway in North America later on with, I think it was Urban Hymns, the big album that really broke them. But yeah, this is the Verve EP, and it's 1990, what did I say, 1992? Yeah, oh, there's nice headshots of the band. There's Richard Ashcroft right there, and this is just some artwork of somebody's apartment. I don't know what's going on there, but it's the Verve EP. Again, that's one I know I've never seen in the vinyl community. I don't think I've actually seen anything by the Verve shown in the vinyl community. So there's first times for everything, folks, and here you have it. Okay, a lot of this stuff from England, like I said, and this is the debut from Suede. Brett Anderson, the lead singer. These guys, I would say, kind of a cross. It's like David Bowie meets the Smiths, if you will, is the only way I could characterize them. You listen and you decide. But that's kind of the vibe I got from it the first time I heard it, and every time I listen to this after. They're still touring as the London Suede. I don't know what the deal was why they changed their name. Richard Butler, or not Richard Butler, he's in the Psychedelic Furs. Bernard Butler was the guitarist. He split. I think that's Bernard Butler right there. And there's Brett Anderson right there having a good hair day, the lead singer. So this is their debut. Like I said, self-titled. Some of these tracks, like So Young, Animal Nitrate is another one. The Drowners is a really good one too. But if you don't know Suede, I suggest you check them out. Their album they did after this is also very good. The follow-up was called Dogman Star a year later. Very good. All of it's good. So those are the only two I have by this band. And then I kind of checked out because after Bernard Butler left, the guitar work, it changed a bit. But those two, the first two are just killer. So the self-titled and Dogman Star, not to be missed. And that's Suede. Okay. Now back to the United States. Going to get a little heavier here for the end of the video, folks. This is Ice-T and Body Count. So, you know, Ice-T's like on Law & Order, one of those shows now. SVU or one of those things. But back in 1992, he was doing this. This was originally called Cop Killer. They had to change the name for obvious reasons. But this almost plays like it's a rap heavy metal album. And I'm not a rap guy at all, but I love this. I remember hearing it in the clubs at the time, and it was just crazy. It's almost satirical. I listened to a couple of songs from this last night for the first time in probably 25 to 30 years. And I was laugh out loud. Like the lyrics, I don't know if they're meant to be funny, but they are really funny. Some of these songs, like There Goes the Neighborhood, Body Counts in the House opens this up. There's actually a song on this called KKK Bitch, where the premise of the song is Ice-T goes to a KKK rally, and he picks up the daughter of the Grand Dragon or Grand Poobah, whoever that guy is. And I can't even, the language on this, there's a reason it's got that warning on it. If there was a record that needed that warning, it's this one. It's just, yeah, there's a lot of profanity. I'm not shy, it doesn't bother me, but some of you that don't go for that, you've been warned. And this is Body Count. Again, the release date on this one, 1992. Really good, really funny, and really fun. That's I'd say put that on at a party, but be mindful of who your guests are. All right. And this is rock and roll too. It's L7, all-female outfit from Los Angeles. A lot of critics group these gals in with the Seattle sound. They couldn't be further. They're way more Motorhead Ramones than they are any kind of grunge. And this is their third release. It's called Bricks Are Heavy. They got the parental advisory on there too for whatever reason. Opens with a track called Wargasm. And then It Doesn't Let Up. Pretend We're Dead was a big song from this one. It was in that movie, I can't think of it, the Oliver Stone film with Woody Harrelson. I just can't think, about the serial killers. Someone drop a comment. I can't think of it. I'm having a brain freeze. Monster's a good one on this. Shit List, that's probably where they got the parental advisory. That's a pretty funny one. Shit List is actually in that movie that I mentioned, the Woody Harrelson movie. A great scene where they're in this cafe, and there's a fight scene, and that's Shit List is playing on the jukebox. It's killer. So yeah, of course, from the CD library of yours truly. Let's see what's on the inside here. If there's any photos of the gals. There they are. That's L7 right there. In sunny Los Angeles, California. And there's a bunch of cartoons and stuff going on there. But yeah, this is really good. Bought this, of course, right when it came out. And here it is on the shelf still. And yeah, it's just kick-ass rock and roll. It's no other way to say it. There you have L7. See, it's flames. It's on fire. It's so hot. Rock and roll, folks. All right. Keeping the rock and roll going. This is Pantera, the original lineup. I don't want to say this was their 5th album, and the first 4 were garbage to a lot of critics, and this is really where they kicked it into high gear. Cowboys from Hell. This came out in 1990. This whole kind of metal isn't really my scene. Like bands that came after, like Korn and Limp Bizkit and that stuff, that's just not my thing. But I do really like Pantera, and this is a really good album. Look at that cover art. Just a night on the town with the boys in some looks like some dive bar. And yeah, the title track, of course, Cowboys from Hell. That's really great. Psycho Holiday, The Sleep, The Art of Shredding, right? Dimebag Darrell, the late great guitar player, of course, on this record. Let's see on the inside. Yeah, here's some pictures of the band. Pretty cool right there. Yeah, really good. I mean, I don't know what you call it. It's not thrash. It's really, really great. There's Phil Anselmo and vocals right there, down there. But it's great, heavy rock and roll. And it's Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, right there. All right, getting near the end here, folks. It's a John Spencer Blues Explosion. Just self-titled. There on the inside. This definitely has a Sonic Youth vibe. It's kind of quirky, but there's some really funny songs on this. Brenda is probably my favorite on this, and Bell Bottoms is another one that's really good. This band was a band I heard like in the clubs in Toronto at that time. Really great. Brenda, they used to always play that at the Dance Cave. Any of my friends would know that. That's the club above Lee's Palace. So it was like a dance club above this live venue where you could keep the party going upstairs till like 3 in the morning after a show. And go and dance your ass off, like in an old ballroom kind of place. And then they'd always play kick-ass alternative music. And then they would play this too. It's the John Spencer Blues Explosion. Again, there's a photo of the guys right there. Yeah, look up the track, Brenda. You'll love it. All right. Speaking of, I mentioned grunge earlier. This is the Soundgarden's 2nd album. This was released in, I think it was their 2nd or 3rd. Came into the 90s with a bang. It's in 1991. It's Bad Motor Finger. The follow-up to Louder Than Love, and then I think the one before that was just an EP they might have had. I have Louder Than Love. I've shown that before, but so I thought I'd show this. And Louder Than Love was released in 89. This is 1991, and like I said at the beginning here, this stuff is all 90s. So this one, again, chock full of great tracks. I mean, opens with Rusty Cage, then just keeps the momentum going. Outshines, Slaves and Bulldozers, Jesus Christ Pose, really great video for Jesus Christ Pose. You can look that up. That was, this seen a few parties, this jewel box, so it kind of came apart on me here. There's the late, great Chris Cornell right there. Of course, Chris Cornell later on, after Soundgarden, he had a life after that. Super Unknown, the one that came after this, I did not like it. It was way too polished. They lost their edge. Like song like Spoon Man, I was checked out of that. That was top 40 to me after Bad Motor Finger. They lost me, unfortunately. But this, they had me, and they'd have you too if you give it a listen, and if you haven't heard it. So on the inside, just some liner notes here. Again, like I say, there's a photo of the band, and just lots of liner notes here on the inside. Lyric sheet, all that kind of jazz. But that's Soundgarden, Bad Motor Finger. If you don't know it, you should be checking it out. All right. Lastly, sorry, I'll take that back. This is Tool, these band from Los Angeles. They're kind of a psychedelic metal band, if you will. It's hard to really put a label on Tool. This was their debut. kind of more in line, not with a heavy metal like Pantera, but after this, they went in many different directions, I'm trying to think of the lead singer's name. Just really freaky artwork on the inside of it. And they were freaky, super freaky. Maynard Keynes was the guy's name. So yeah, there's pig on the back, undertow. So some of the highlights on this one, we have here, we've got Prison Sex, of course, Sober, and Undertow, the title track, really good too. But yeah, this is Tool, and it's their debut. It's called Undertow, and the release date on that one, 1993. Okay, I think we're at the end here. Yeah, and this is a band from the UK, featuring the beautiful Tony Holiday on lead vocals. This is they captured 3 EPs for this, and for whatever reason, someone thought the name Pubic Fruit was a good name. I don't know where they get that from, but this is basically, it's the first 3 EPs all on one compact disc, and plus it features a bonus remix of the track Fait Accompli. My French accent's gone. And that was on Doppelganger, released in 1993 as well, same year as this compilation. So on this one, some of the tracks on this, the track listing is on the inside here. What do we got here? Coast is Clear, let's see, Color Hurts, Frozen, and of course, like I said, there's an extended version of Fait Accompli here on the very end here, extended mix. So that's Curve, featuring the beautiful Tony Holiday. And that's going to wrap it up for this 90s little rehash of my youth and stuff I was into at the time. I say 90s, but it seems, looking back on what I just talked about for the past 25 minutes, I really went only 1990 to not even past 1995. So maybe I'll do a part 2 and do 95 to the year 2000, because there was a lot of good music there. But just when I was grabbing stuff, thinking about what to talk about for this one, these are the ones I went right to, because a lot of memories come back, and good memories, of course, from those days in my youth. So thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for all those people too that were jumping on that thread. I never thought it would catch on, the greatest hits thread, the 12+1. Thanks to everybody. They've been great videos. I watched all of them. But yeah, again, it's not a contest. It was just a thread idea. And I made that video, and at the end I just said, hey, maybe this could be a thread, not even labeling it as a thread, and here we go. So that's what happens in the vinyl community. Sometimes things take off like that, and that's cool. We're all in this together, folks. So whatever you're doing this weekend, have a good one. We don't have any snow here. It's just dry and a little cool. I'll take it. And the sun finally did come out. So when I was complaining about the weather last weekend, we finally saw the sun the past 2 days. So that's been great. Have a good weekend, folks, and I'll see you again.